What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Taste Like Music. Jason and Joe here. Reviewing a new record today. We're talking about the new one from The Smile, their second record. The Smile, of course, is the new band consisting of Thom Yorke, Johnny Greenwood, and Tom Skinner. Three-piece, kind of sort of continuing in the vein of Radiohead. This isn't a huge departure, this project, but maybe slight differences in the approach. The first record, A Light for Attracting Attention, was our dearly departed Cramser's album of the year in 2022, I believe that was. I wasn't crazy about it. I only have that at 3 stars. And yeah, I guess I'll save what I think of this one for a little while still. But how you feeling about Wall of Eyes?
Well, Light for Attracting Attention definitely grew on me. First, I thought it was kind of too bleepy and bloopy. Radiohead's sort of modus operandi, what they've been doing for the past, I don't know, 15 years or so. But it did grow on me. I like the textures and the feel of it and the darkness, kind of ethereal. I mean, it wasn't too far outside of Radiohead, but I did like the emphasis on Johnny there. This new one, I think is, I don't say much better because that would force me into like a 5-star review. But I do think it's significantly better than the last one. And I do believe it is my favorite thing that Thom Yorke and Johnny Greenwood have been associated with since Hail to the Thief, and pretty easily. And it grew on me even more for the past couple listens. Everything that they're doing here, the last album kind of was just like a continuation of Radiohead. This is a continuation of Radiohead, but they're throwing in some stuff that I haven't heard since like the 90s on some of this. Some of the bass work, Read the Room, really reminds me of like 90s stuff. The way some of the songs are structured, the hooks, Thom Yorke's singing, I think, is probably like the most straightforward it's been in a long time, which I really like. Like lots of little touches of falsetto. He's got a bit of a sneer to it. It's not quite as like floaty and weightless as it has been, I felt like. First song, it's 5/4 time and got some odd guitar playing from Greenwood underneath. It kind of sounds like some Radiohead songs. It's not like too different than what we're used to, but I think quickly it turns into something better and more special with Read the Room. Got those like real squeamish guitar licks, which I love. Some awesome bass work. Just that sneering delivery. Like it's just a little, it's that Thom Yorke that we love from OK Computer, where he's sort of like, I don't know, looking down on everyone and like knows he's the shit. And just the way he attacks the vocals, I think really works. Under Our Pillows has some really cool percolating guitar lines, really great 90s era bass stuff. And again, Thom Yorke's vocals just sound more like from the 90s, a little more like weight behind them. And Friend of a Friend is kind of like the flip side to Pyramid Song. There's some warmth to it, jazzy drums, some charming piano, some horns in there. It's typical like big Radiohead build. Got them surging strings, and then kind of all drops off into this like spooky, downcast, like typical. The world was maybe good for a second there, and it's gone, and everything sucks again. Which classic Radiohead there. Bending Hectic, I think, just a really long 8-minute slow build. It got some like jazz influence, I think, a little bit. And it kind of just meanders a little bit, but you can kind of tell it's building to something. And you get these like squeal of Scott Walker-esque strings. Reminds me a lot of It's Raining Again, which I know Tom is an avowed fan of. And then it just explodes into this rocking part that I didn't think that Tom and Johnny had in them anymore. Like you get some like harsh sounding 90s, the bends, maybe even like Pablo Honey sounding guitar work, which I love. And it ends on You Know Me, which is a little floaty and ethereal, but I think the vocal part from Tom kind of ties it down a little bit, keeps it from floating away too much into that weird Radiohead, late period Radiohead stuff. I'm really digging this one. I think I have to give 4.5 stars, just based on me liking it a good deal more than a light for attracting attention. So yeah, I think I gotta go 4.5, and pretty adamantly can say that it's my favorite Radiohead adjacent side project associated thing since Hail to the Thief.
Well, I kind of agree with a lot of what you said. I think Read the Room is great. It's got that really cool opening guitar part. You get some cool groove on there and a really distinct melody from Thom Yorke. You get a nice breakdown and it builds back up. And Friend of a Friend, really cool piano based. There's some horns maybe on there, but it also sounded like maybe some woodwinds, some clarinet possibly. And I like the dry vocal sound on some of these tracks. Like you were saying, sometimes he just gets so washed out in reverb, it's hard to even understand what he's singing. And some of these tracks kind of bring him back down to earth finally. Get some really nice sweeping Beatle-esque strings on that track as well. Bending Hectic. The first song released from this, I hadn't heard it until now. It's been out for quite a while, but yeah, it's got one of the strongest melodies on the album. You Know Me, I think, has a really strong melody as well. It's a pretty strong and interesting record, except I really hate, well, hate maybe a little strong, but I do not think the first two tracks on this record are good at all. Um, Listening to the first two songs, I was looking down the barrel of a 2.5. I did not think uh, that this was going to be a very good record. It was putting me to sleep. Just those more reverbed, washed out type of vocals. The arrangements were really boring. The drum parts were just repetitive and not that interesting. It's just kind of like on the first track, Wall of Eyes, just kind of like playing on a floor tom, pretty straight, and didn't do much for me. Teleharmonic, I think there was a point in listening to that where I was wondering if I had even gotten to the second track yet, or if I was just still in this endless loop of the same thing. Um, and then I Quit a little later in the record is another track that I'm not very high on. So for me, there's like a super strong EP's worth of material here, five tracks that I like that I think are really good. And the fact that they're the first two tracks to make it a record that I don't see myself going back to really. It's so it climbed from a 2.5 up to a pretty light 3.5 for me. So I do think it is slightly better than the first Smile record. And there's some cool stuff here, but yeah, it's just really held down by a couple weak tracks. It's only 8 songs, so that's a 3 weak ones is a pretty significant chunk.
I suppose I can see that. Those are the three that I didn't write anything down about Telharmonic. I kind of forgot that it even existed. So I'm kind of with you there. I don't. First song I think is interesting. I don't think it's on the level of some of the other songs. I Quit has a nice rhythm to it, but it's I wrote I Quit has a cool pulsing rhythm to it, and that was my entire notes on the song. So I get what you're saying, but that's like 12 minutes, maybe less, 10 minutes worth of songs. And I think the rest of it, I mean, those three I'd give like 3 stars. I think they're probably pretty uninteresting, and most people will probably just sort of, just it'll go by and that's it. But I think the rest of it's just the best stuff that they've done in so long that I gotta go 4.5.
All right. Well, let us know what you think of this record. Which tracks do you like? Do you like all of it? Let us know in the comments your thoughts. Hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed yet. Make sure you hit the bell for notifications so that you know when new videos come out. And check the video description for Patreon and links to our social media and all that good stuff. Thanks for watching, and we will see you in the next one.